Hello, welcome out. Tony Benson here, founder of Notary Counter, and this is the first of a series of training lessons to get you set up. Trying to create one that's in succession, so I'm going to go step by step through each separate piece, starting off with the most important part, which is connecting your calendar. We'll get to that in a minute. Going to start off with just some very basics. First, make sure some things are clear. So obviously, first you're going to want to log in. If you ever forget your password, you can find it here. If you want to reset your password for some reason, click that. And that'll allow you to reset it essentially. But you're just going to log in, whether you do it with Google or have it saved there or type it in manually, however you work, as long as you get in. Right? This is taking us into the back end of my Notary Counter account. And the first place it's going to take you is to your calendar and show you a visual of this week. Now, what you see there, the grayed spots, are what is on my Google Calendar. Now, just so it's clear, this runs off of Google, so it's got to be Gmail or Workspace. Either a free Gmail account, or if you have a paid Workspace, that will work as well. Google, Apple, Microsoft, they all have different systems as far as how their APIs and the other technology behind the scenes works for their calendars. This is all built on Google, so it has to be used with Google. So if you're using Outlook, if you're using iCal, it still works. You just have to have a Gmail or a Workspace email account, or calendar at least. And then you can plumb in your Outlook or your iCal into that Gmail. So essentially, you're going to create one central Google product, a Gmail account, Gmail calendar, if you don't already have one. Most people already do. And then if you're using Outlook or iCal, you can just plumb it in there. You can go to YouTube and look it up. Just go, connecting Apple and Google calendars, connecting Outlook and Gmail calendars or Google calendars. And there's all kinds of YouTube videos all over. Most of them are 3 to 5 minutes long. It's relatively short. It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. You can follow it step by step. I've done that myself. I had to connect I've got 7 or 8 or 9 different calendars that are all in Gmail. But I had to connect them because one day I was on one calendar from one account, and then I was on a different calendar from a different account. I put something on that one, but it didn't show up in the other one. And I was scratching my head going, what's going on? Oh, I must have been on a different account. So what I did is I took all my different calendars, because I've got one for personal, I've got one for my time with my kids, I've got work one, right, for notary, I've got this business, I've got another thing I help a friend with in New York, so I do some stuff for him a little bit. So I've got to keep it all straight. And obviously, being in a business where you need to know what your availability is, keeping your calendar straight is paramount, right? I was never good. I'm still not a good planner. But when I started in this business almost 8 years ago, I wasn't good at keeping my schedule straight, keeping my calendar accurate. I didn't really need to. And then I realized really quickly when I almost missed an appointment that, I better get my act together and make sure I keep my calendar up to date. And in the last 8 years, I don't know if I'd say I've mastered it, but I think about as good as it can get. So, but I want to touch on one thing before I move on is you see the gray spots, which are reading off my Google Calendar. Now, some people call me or they send an email. I can't add anything to this. They're trying to click here, right? Like I'm going click, 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 right? The purpose of this is to make your job and your business more efficient and easier to do. All you have to do is have that one Gmail account that's connected to Notary Counter. This is going to read that one Gmail calendar. So all you have to do is take that one Gmail calendar and make sure any other calendars you have are plumbed into that one. It's like you have one pond right here, and you want to have, if you have 5 different calendars, 5 different emails, or 5 different systems, whatever you want to call it, you just create 5 different rivers that all go to that one pond. And then this reads that one pond, if that makes sense. It's not a great analogy, but hopefully it works. So that is the way to do it. I had to do that with all my different Gmail accounts and go connect them to each other. So anytime I'm on one, I add something to it, it automatically goes to the main one that this is reading off of. So just so that's clear, you will have, if you have something booked through Notary Counter, you will have it show up on here. So it's not real busy right now, and I've got part of this week booked out. So, and then sometimes this is, well, actually, I think this one is. Actually, I know that one is right there. That's why there's a time slot on there. This is booked on my calendar. But I also use Notary Assist. And I'll show you in the calendar lesson where you can have it just read your calendar, so it displays your accurate times for those that look at your widget on your website. You can also have it, when you get an order and you get a job and you hit accept, you can have it write it to your calendar as well. So it'll automatically put it onto your Google Calendar. That's why this one's grayed out, because the Notary Assist also auto-populates it onto my calendar. So I get duplication, which doesn't bother me. If it does bother you, then just don't do step number 2 on Notary Calendar if you're using something like Notary Assist. If you're not using something like a Notary Assist or Notary Gadget that automatically populates your jobs onto your calendar, then you may want to do it with the Notary Calendar part. So just a heads up. So essentially, that is the main part of the tool. And that was the purpose of this tool, is to be able to display an accurate, proactive ability for your clients to see your calendar, see your schedule without having to call or text or email you. You see the menus right up here. There's if you want to see what your subscription is, if you need to change your subscription, if you started off on the free and you want to upgrade to the widget, if you start off with a widget and you're starting to network with other notaries, you want to upgrade to that one, you can do that just fine. Just go back to the subscription part and hit manage. And it'll allow you to upgrade or downgrade whatever you need to. Right? If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask. Go back to the main screen there. You see there's your appointments tab right here, which you can go ahead and click on that. I'm not going to because I've got a bunch of appointments in there and it's got private information in there. So, and obviously as a notary, privacy is top of mind. So you're not going to have the user dashboard and search this dashboard. That's for me specifically. But then here's the menu. We're going to go through each of these except for the hosted profile page. That is for future editions. So we'll go through the rest of these, except for subscriptions, since I just touched on that. So I know I'm stumbling over my words. Probably this caffeine I just started drinking. So plus sometimes I get a little excited and I start talking really fast. If you didn't notice, I have to work really hard to slow down and make sure I enunciate. So if I got going too fast, go to YouTube and hit the speed button and slow me down. I usually speed those up because my brain's just racing typically. So it's hard to stay with it sometimes. But okay, there's a quick overview. So go on to lesson number 2, where I'll give you about the calendar. I'll see you in just a minute. Bye-bye.